Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Season 2 of the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kayla Smith, CEO of the Hormone P.U.Z.L.E Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching, creator of the Hormone P.U.Z.L.E method, an infertility warrior, two-time boy mom, and women's health expert. This podcast is for women struggling with infertility, painful periods, terrible PMS, or really just any symptom of hormone imbalance that they are ready to eliminate for good. Tune in weekly as we interview amazing experts in the fields of women's health, breaking down those hormone walls, nerding out on nutrition, and having way too much fun. Whether you're beginning your journey or you've been struggling for years, we're going to finally help you put those pieces of your hormone puzzle back together so that you can get pregnant and eliminate those pesky symptoms for good. Are you ready? This season is packed with even more expert guests sharing groundbreaking knowledge, giving you that jolt of energy that you so desperately need, sending you lots of virtual hugs, and inspiring you to take your fertility into your own hands and make that baby. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's get started on your road to transformation. You are going to love today's guest. She is none other than Karen Jeffries, a fourth grade dual language teacher outside of New York City. And she doesn't consider herself a writer by trade, but she did write a hilarious book about infertility, which she has been sharing with her followers for years. Karen is infertile and funny. This combination is equal parts unlikely and spectacular. In her spare time, she loves to spend time with her family and apply numerous layers of face cream due to her recent realization that she is on a slippery slope to 40 years old. More than anything, Karen hopes to help other women through their infertility treatments, one laugh at a time. She has over 85,000 followers on her different social media platforms, with Instagram being her largest. Her book has sold worldwide where possible and is still selling greatly. Karen is looking to do more speaking engagements, and she recently started a hilariously infertile comedy night, which she's hosting in New York City, and she's going to do one in Boston coming up soon. Karen performed her infertility-based stand-up comedy routine, and proceeds from these tickets went to fund the Baby Quest Foundation, which is a charity that provides financial grants to patients going through infertility treatments in the United States. Karen is also on the board of the Baby Quest Foundation. So listen in as we talk to her about her book and platform, Hilariously Infertile, and why the season of infertility is anything but hilarious. And let her explain the meaning behind this phrase and her mission. And let's face it, who doesn't like a good laugh, especially during this season in life that just sucks for so many of us. So I am super excited for you guys to hear today's show. And without further ado, let's welcome Karen to the show. Today's show is sponsored by Tempdrop. Identify your fertility window in real time with Tempdrop. Hey, Karen, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Me too. I can't wait.
Yes. Tell me a little bit more about you, kind of who you are and how you got started in women's health.
Oh gosh. So I'm actually a fourth grade dual language teacher, Spanish and English, just outside New York City. And how did I start in women's health? That's so funny. So I went through infertility to have both of my daughters. My oldest I did IUIs for, and my youngest I did a number of IUIs that didn't work. So we did a round of IVF. And when I was on maternity leave with my second daughter, I was helping some other people, some friends and some family members through their infertility cycles. And I was telling my husband all about it. And aside from the fact that he was like, okay, like, I don't really need to know when Allison's ovulating, like she's like his friend too. He's like, so pump the brakes and like all the information. But aside from that, he's like, I think that you should write a book. And I remember I just laughed in his face and like grabbed a glass of wine and went to go sit on the couch because I was like, haha, like I don't even have time to read books, let alone write one. Like that's just so ridiculous to me. And then like I would say maybe a week or so later, maybe 2 weeks, I opened my laptop during nap time and I just started writing. And what came out of me it was funny and it was inappropriate and it was snarky, but it was the way that real women spoke when real women speak to each other. And it came out of me so fast. Like in 5 weeks, I had pretty much the entire book done and it hasn't changed that much since then. And I showed it to my husband and he was like, okay, not exactly the book I was thinking of. And I was like, right, but Jeff, like this is how real women speak to each other. Like this is how we really talk when I'm with my girlfriends. And I know other people are very similar. And he was like, okay. And what I was so surprised about is as I was writing it, it was funny. Like it was really funny. And going through infertility is not funny. There's nothing about it. Everyone always asks me like, oh, is infertility funny? And I'm like, no. It's not like, it's not. And if you've seen my book, it's really thin. It's like, I can make it funny, but I can't make it like, I always say, I can't make it like War and Peace funny. Like I can make it like that much funny because it's not funny, but there are so many ridiculous stories and ridiculous things that you have to go through that every person going through infertility has to face and has to go through that no one talks about. And so that is how I started this. And then being a naive school teacher, like I don't know anyone in publishing. Like I don't know anyone who's like connected. Like I know school teachers and that's it, And so I just started sending it off to different publishing agencies and literary agents in New York City. And I heard nothing back. Or I heard back, we just don't think it's a big enough market. And that to me really fueled my fire because I'm sitting in my office right now and I have 2 monitors. And I remember like having that email on one monitor and then having the CDC numbers for fertility rates just in the United States and just for known diagnosed infertility, not people who don't have health insurance or just trying on their own. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And I was like, it is a huge market. And the issue that people are telling me that they think it's not a big enough market speaks to the fact that people are at home alone, suffering in silence. And I was like, I can't have that. Like, that's just not okay because that's how I was. And so I talked with a friend and one of my husband's actually best friends. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, well, what's your goal? And I was like, my goal is to help people. Like, I really just want to help people and let them feel that they're not alone. And he was like, okay, well, you need to put the book on the back burner. It's not all about the book. He's like, you need to start social media. And I was like, ew, I hate social media. Because I didn't even have I still don't have a personal Facebook account. Like, because I'm a school teacher, I never wanted my students to find me. They Googled me. They're 10. They've 100% Googled me. They told me that. And my students' parents, I just wanted to really maintain some anonymity there. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And he was like, if you want to help people, this is what you have to do. So I started the social media and it just grew and grew and grew. And then once it got to the point where I knew that if I published my book, if I self-published my book, because I still couldn't find any publishers that are interested, but I just wanted to know that I could make my money back, but I wanted to get the book out there. And really a lot of the things that I've done on Hilariously Infertile have all been very follower driven. Like my followers have said, I had some chapters of my book on my website and they were like, we need more. So after a few years, I published the book and then I had some t-shirts. They're like, oh, we need those t-shirts. So then I made some Teespring account and now they can get t-shirts. So it's all been very, what the people kind of want is, as long as it's within reason, I try to help them out and I try to give it to them because at the end of the day, everyone thinks Hilariously Infertile is about me, which I find so funny because it's not. It's really not about me. It's about the, the people who are still going through this. So yes, I might post something about, the quiet waiting room or this and that. And those are all experiences that I had, but like, I'm not posting that for me. I'm posting that for the people who are still going through it. So yeah, so that's how it all kind of started in a nutshell.
I love that. And, I agree, infertility is not funny, but sometimes those of us walking through it, we need something funny to hold on to. Like, just make me laugh, make me forget. So I think your account does that really, really well.
Thank you.
I love that. Yes. And so you're starting to do comedy shows now. Tell me about that.
Yes. So before COVID, in 2019, I did one comedy show in June of 2019 in New York City, which was sold out, it was just so shocking. Everyone to me is like, oh, so like, do you have any background in comedy? And I'm like, no.
Right. No.
No. Like, I mean, aside from like being a school teacher and having to stand up in front of my students all the time and coming from like a somewhat dysfunctional family, like that's all the background I have. And I'm like, no. I don't. But what was happening was that I was being asked to do this like speech that of my journey, which basically is me acting out and paraphrasing my entire book, right? It starts from me finding out, not knowing that I was infertile, to finding out that I was infertile, all the way to giving birth to my second daughter. So, and everything in between. And I was doing this speech for fertility clinics and for drug companies every now and then, and finally I was like, I wanted to get a video of me doing it that I thought I could send out, right? So it was more for like promotional. Like I was like, I want to get something so I can be like, if you want to see a clip of this, when a company comes up to me. And then my friend was like, well, why don't we just do an event? Like, why don't we do a comedy event? And so we started looking into it and then selling tickets and all this stuff. And I was like, well, I can't take that money. And of course my buddy's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Like, take the money.
Right.
And I was like, no, I can't take that money. Like, I just wanted to break even. Like, I wanted to not be, lose money on the show, obviously, and reserving the venue and all that stuff. But any profit that we made, I donated to Baby Quest Foundation, which is a foundation that gives fertility, financial assistance to people who are going through fertility in the United States. And I've also donated to Resolve.org, which is also a national infertility in the United States awareness organization, nonprofit that does a lot of advocacy. So it was important to me to give back because, again, like I'm a teacher, I have a salary, I have a pension. Like I'm not going to take people's money, So that's what we did. So we started one in New York in June. I did one in Boston in November, and everything is really grassroots around here. Like I did it in New York because we're from New York. I did it in Boston because my husband's family from Boston, and I knew I could stay at my sister-in-law's house. Like I was planning on going to Chicago next because my sister lives in Chicago. Like it's really like we're not like traveling on like a tour bus, So that's what I was doing. And then COVID, I was hoping to do a tour in 2020 or a show in 2020 in June in Chicago, and then COVID hit and everything kind of shut down. So hopefully, I'll either release it somehow digitally so people can just stream it all over the world, or I'll, start up the shows again once we can. But yeah, it's fun. It's just fun getting up there. And I think my favorite part, and it must be the teacher in me, right? But my favorite part is when I'm talking about whether the most ridiculous or the worst or the hardest parts, and I look around and you just see this. Mm-hmm. You just see heads nodding, male, female, old, young, doesn't matter. People are like, yep. I've been there. And you'd be shocked at how many men attended these events and these shows. And it was great. So yeah, I really liked it. And I got to meet a lot of people too, which was awesome.
I love that. I love it. And so tell me, what's the most favorite part of the show? Like, what's your one line that you're like, oh, I just love to talk about this?
Oh gosh. I think it's at the end, close to the end. I have a couple. I have a couple really funny parts about the whole morning monitoring and being wanded and like the doctor and the blue cloth that's like covering you. And I'm like, I don't really understand why we have that. Like, right. And I'm like, this is my vagina. It's attached to my body. Like, why do we keep trying to separate these two? Like, I don't really know. So I have a lot of funny things in like that kind of scene, I would say. And then one of my funnier ones is at the end, after we transferred one of our embryos in my IVF cycle. We only put one in, and then we all got the stomach bug, like so bad. Like it was like the worst stomach bug. And the transfer was on December 20th. So the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, we were so sick. And like, we couldn't go to my parents' house for Christmas Eve because we thought we were going to get them sick. Like, it was just like, I can't even tell you how sick we all were. And my mom called me just to check in on how we were doing. And I was like, Mom, I think I shitted out my embryo.
Oh no.
And I had to say that quietly because I don't want my daughter to hear me. But she was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, no, I 100% shitted out my embryo. Like, it's gone. Like, it's gone. And she was like, okay, you do realize that they're different holes, right? And then I'm like, this conversation actually happened. Like, I've done that in front of my mom. I had like a book signing event and my mom came because I don't let my parents come to the comedy events, but to the book signing, I did let them come. And she was like, I was there. That's exactly how that conversation happened. Because it was. And she was like, do we need to go over the holes? And I was like, no. Like, I know the holes. I'm just saying, like, there's no way this embryo is still inside of me. And it actually was. I ended up getting pregnant with my second daughter. But yeah, so that one is just always like, that one gets a big laugh because it's so true. Because you're like, oh my God. And like, just describing how sick we were. Then I'm like, there's no way it's still in there. Like, nothing's inside of me anymore, you know?
Right?
So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Too funny. Well, I hope those shows come back once all this COVID is over, but definitely virtually, if nothing else.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about your book. What's your favorite piece of the book?
Oh gosh. There's a lot of different stuff in the book. I think that the most relatable parts are trying to manage infertility and a full-time job, you know, or later on in the book, trying to manage infertility, a full-time job, and a toddler. And I think I always tell people, you know, if you were just doing infertility treatments and that's it, in a vacuum, like all you had to do was go to the clinic and come home and do nothing else, like that would still be super stressful. Like it would be still a lot to handle and a lot to manage with the appointments and the medications and what you're eating and all this stuff. Like, it'd be a lot, but that's not how anyone goes through infertility. Mm-hmm. You know, like, we have jobs, we have spouses, we've got family, we've got a pandemic going on, you know, like maybe you have other children if it's secondary infertility, or just, you know, continued infertility. So I think that, and there's insurance issues, like there's just so much. So I think that one of my favorite parts, and there's a lot of different parts, but I think the biggest message is just like trying to manage it all. Because I know for me, my first time that I was going through infertility for my first daughter, we lived in Manhattan, and like I would drive up to the clinic and then go to the clinic and then drop my husband off like a few blocks later and then just drive up to where my school is, and which is a little bit north of the city. But when we were going for my second, we bought a house where we are now in the suburbs. So I would wake up at like 4:45 in the morning to leave the house at 5:45 in the morning so I could get down to New York City. I'd have to pay for parking in a garage every time because there's no street parking. And I'd have to get there by like 6:45 so I could be waiting in like the elevator, like vestibule. I'd be the first one there. So I could be the first one to get blood and ultrasound so that I could hopefully be out of the clinic by 7:20. So that then I could get back on the road to get up to my school and to start by the morning bell. So, which is at 8:24. So like that, I think, is what people really resonate with. Just that, like, oh my, and like being a teacher, you can't be late. It's not like you can tell your boss, oh, I'm gonna be like a little bit late this day or that day. Like, it's just not, it just doesn't happen. It's like, I would kill myself just to get to work. And I think that that's what a lot of people can resonate with, you know, working full time or having whatever you have going on in your life and still trying to manage this and sucking at all of it. But it's okay, you know, because I always tell everyone, like, you have to be kind to yourself and you have to give yourself some grace, and like, it's not all going to be amazing. And maybe that month, like, your laundry's not put away great, or your hair and makeup doesn't look awesome, or you do take out more than you typically do. Like, whatever it is, like, set the bar low and just try to get through it, because that's really all you can do, you know? Right. So yeah. And try not to, if you're a school teacher, at least for me, like, try not to do IVF in December, because December is just like, for at least where I work, it's just a total crazy time. You've got like 40 parent teacher conferences and report cards and this and that. And like, I was like, yeah, I would highly recommend, not September or June either, but definitely not December. Yeah.
Maybe the summer.
Yeah, if you could. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, it sounds such an amazing book. I know my audience is going to really resonate with this. So thank you for talking about that. I love it.
Thanks so much.
Yes. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to hear a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to talk more practical tips on, walking through this journey with infertility and about the Baby Quest grant that you alluded to earlier. So we'll be back in a second.
Right. Thanks.
Hey y'all, it's Coach Kayla here. I hope you are loving this episode as much as I am. We will be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsors. I am super excited to introduce you to today's sponsor, Tempdrop. Tempdrop gives you everything you need to effortlessly track your fertility. Wear the Tempdrop sensor while you sleep for accurate basal body temperature reading without the stress of early morning wake up. Tempdrop's accompanying app enables you to chart an array of symptoms alongside your BBT, including cervical mucus and OPKs. Combine these fertility signs all in one place to identify your fertile window and to confirm ovulation. Whether you're trying to conceive, are avoiding pregnancy, or want to chart your health for other reasons, Tempdrop makes fertility awareness accessible to all women, even if you don't have a regular cycle or sleeping pattern. Visit www.tempdrop.com/puzzle for 15% off your order. Hey Karen, thanks so much for joining us again.
Hi.
Hey, so let's talk a little bit more practical tips. Do you have maybe one or two things that you would say would help people walk through this journey with infertility?
Oh gosh. So like I said earlier, set the bar low, especially for yourself. This is going to sound really ridiculous, but like leggings, buy leggings, like
your friend.
Yeah. Like I didn't own leggings. Like I didn't own leggings when I was going through infertility. And I always joke, like leggings existed. There was a thing, like this was 2014, 2012. You know what I mean? Like they were out there. I just didn't have them. So I was like going through infertility, so bloated, had gained so much weight from months and months and months of Clomid. And I was still trying to like wear regular dress pants to work with like buttons and zippers. I just remember being like, and so people are like, really, that's your piece of advice? Like, that's it? And I'm like, no, for real, like that's life changing,
I agree.
So definitely get some pants that have elastic and be cool with them. And my other piece of advice is if it's possible, and it's not always possible, maybe more so now with COVID, because really, where are we going? But if it's possible, to try to give yourself your injections in the same location. I know that that's not always the case. People are really busy. They have events and different work schedules and things like that. But I know for me, like I did mine in my kitchen, and that's where I always did it. And I know that some people I've talked to, like they did one in their kitchen, then they did another in their bathroom. They ended up mixing up like which ones were supposed to go where and all this stuff. And that messes up your protocol. So have everything organized, have everything out, and try, if it's possible, to do it all in the same location every time, just so that things don't get, mixed up. And I think one thing that surprised me, and I was actually talking about this the other night, was that I didn't know when I was going through my IVF cycle that I was going to run out of medication in the middle of the cycle. Like you're only giving yourself injections, you're giving yourself a couple types of injections for like 15 days. And then after that, you're only, at least in my protocol, I was only doing the progesterone and oil after that. And I thought that in those 15 days, like, how could I possibly run out? They gave me like boxes upon boxes of all this stuff in the beginning. And I remember at one point looking at it and like trying to figure it out and trying to do the math and being like, oh my God, like I don't have enough for 2 days from now. And like that just like, it blew my mind, because never did I think that I was going to need a refill within 15-day periods of time. Because that's like, typically refills are monthly, or whatever the case may be. So, so that shocked me too. So just stay on top of your medications and try to keep everything organized in the same place if it's possible.
Right. Such great tips. Oh my gosh. I completely agree. Yes. Leggings. Life-changing.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about myths. What are some myths that you might have heard around fertility?
Oh gosh, there's so many. That's a great question. I don't get asked that much. I think that one major myth I know is that it's not a disease, that people, will be like, oh, you could just relax, or, I had a hard time conceiving, but I just relaxed and went on vacation and da da da. But like that's, infertility is not that. Like you wouldn't go up to someone who has diabetes or who has cancer or who has Alzheimer's and say, you just need to relax and it will go away.
Right.
Like you would never say that to them,
Mm-mm.
you know, because it's a disease. And I think that's what people don't understand about infertility, that it's not just that people just want to get pregnant like this, you know, like you have a medical diagnosis of infertility, of whatever it is, whether it's PCOS or fibroids or endometriosis or unexplained or whatever the case may be, or male factor infertility, it's technically a disease. So to really advocate for it, you advocate for yourself, you know, in terms of that, but also when people say stuff like that, just to try to either don't engage or take it with a grain of salt, because they just don't get it. So I think that is a big myth. Another myth is that, you know, people who go through infertility or IVF are just trying to like make their own special designer babies. Like I know that's not true at all, you know? And I was just thinking of another one. I forgot what it was. Oh, and another myth that I think is common out there is that it's like that it's against some sort of religious plan or greater plan, which I just think is really not true at all. You know, I mean, if that was the case, then cancer and Alzheimer's and diabetes are also part of a greater plan. And then what does that mean? You know, if someone, because like I know people, well, some people just aren't meant to be parents, or some people, or maybe this is God, this or whatever. And I just, those are all things that are really, really hurtful and really minimizes what someone's going through, and it's not helpful, and it's really just not the case at all.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That drives me crazy when people say that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Stop. So let's talk about that. Some crazy things people say, you know, I recently saw you were doing that series, Tell Me, like tell me this without telling me this. So what are some cool things you've heard from that? Like, what are some creative ways people have told you, you know, they're struggling with this without actually saying it?
Well, typically, what's actually funny is that in my personal life, really no one has to tell me they're struggling with infertility. I kind of just know. I always joke that I've got really great infertility like radar, you know, right. Like I can like sniff out like a fellow infertility patient anywhere, even like after the fact. Like I'll be at swim class with my girls and I'll be like, she went through infertility to that mom. And then like, we'll like start chatting about whatever. And obviously I don't lead in with that because like that would be weird. Right. But eventually she would say something and it's like, well, I had, you know, went through IVF and then all the floodgates open and then and I'm like, I knew it. My infertility radar does not disappoint.
Right.
But I think that, you know, for some people, it's not really telling me that you're going through infertility when you're not, but it's just, you know, there are some things that people shouldn't say or shouldn't be doing. And so, you know, when I did the tell me you're going through infertility without actually telling me, so many people sent me pictures of morning, you know, monitoring with wands, or like someone sent like a huge, like one of those, like plastic shoe things, like looks like teachers use them sometimes as like mailboxes or like different cubbies to put like the papers in, but it's like a whole plastic sheet and it has like all these cubbies for your shoes. And she had all of that filled with all of her medications and syringes and alcohol pads, and everything was lined up. And I just thought that A, was so clever and so well organized, but B, I was like, that's seriously how you know you're going through infertility. You have an entire shoe closet worth of medication. So yeah.
Right. Oh, I love it. Oh. Well, tell me a little bit more about the Baby Quest grants. What is that and how can people be involved with it?
Yes. So Baby Quest is a nonprofit foundation that awards financial assistance to people in the United States who are going through infertility. It was founded by this wonderful woman named Pam after her daughter couldn't get pregnant, tried again, and eventually found out that like there's basically like a bone going through her uterus or something like that. So she had to use a surrogate, but then finding a surrogacy agency and finding a surrogate, like all of it was just so expensive, but also, you know, just draining and time consuming, and it took forever. And so Pam she's such like a mom, you know, she's an older woman, but she's just like a mother to all. And she was just like, this is horrible. And so we're going to fix it. And, you know, and they had the financial needs ability to help their daughter through this time, but she realized that how expensive it was, how ridiculously expensive, and that's really unnecessary, that it's really that much and that it's not covered. So that's how she started Baby Quest, and it's helped. I mean, I don't want to say, because I don't have the stats like on me, but I know they've had over 100 births of babies throughout the United States, and they're constantly, looking for donations. So if anyone is feeling generous with a little bit of extra money here or there, every little bit helps, and they really, they just try to help people all the time. And it's open to any types of couples, singles, however you want to do it. All you have to do is apply. And they're just such like a mom and pop amazing foundation. And I, was introduced to them at a national infertility medical conference a few years ago. And I was so taken aback by the mother-daughter love that the founder Pam and her daughter had, and just how amazing it was. I was like, oh my goodness, like I want to be part of this. Like it just felt right. So they're great. So I would highly recommend following them on social media and donating if you can.
I love
that. Or applying for a grant if you can.
Yes, for sure. And we'll link that under the show notes so people know how to get in touch with them. And tell us how we can find you. Where can we get your book? Where can we find you on social?
So you can buy my book anywhere. It's on Amazon, anywhere basically where books are sold. If you can't get it, you could always ask it. One thing that I think is actually really funny is some people have like requested it at their local libraries, which for some reason that like makes me like just laugh so hard, because I can't imagine my book like being stacked at like a, local small town library, but it's like probably in its own section, just like inappropriate.
Right.
Right. Not for the faint of heart. So you can buy a book on Amazon or BookBaby. You can find me at www.hilariouslyinfertile.com. That's my website, where you can find free chapters to the book if you want to read a little bit of it before committing to buying, which I always tell people to do. And I'm like, it's probably the worst business plan, but go read a few chapters. If you like it, then buy it. If you don't like it, then don't buy it. So you don't have to waste, like, that's what I would do. Right? So you don't waste your money. And you can find there's links to my merchandise and some fun t-shirts and things on there. And there's also a newsletter. I don't send newsletters out that often because I don't like getting newsletters that often, but when I do have something, I'll add it to the newsletter. And then on social media, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at hilariously_infertile. If you just search it up, you'll be able to find it. So yeah, and definitely people think that because there's like a number on my account of followers that I'm not available or not here. And that's actually really not the case. So I respond to every single DM and every single email, and it's just me. There's no one else. Like I don't have like a team of people. So if you have any problems, you're going through something, you need some advice, I can help you as much as I can, or I can, at least push you in the right direction of where I think you could get advice if I don't have it for you. So real person, and you could always reach out.
I love that. And I love Instagram. It's so fun to connect with people through, DMs and, all of that. So
it's so easy too, like it really is. So, you can follow me there, and not everything is infertility. Some of it's just stuff about vaginas, periods, just being a woman in general. Right. For me, like in the stories, the way I kind of separate it, or I try to separate it, is the feed is all about infertility and the stories is more about me. And that's kind of how I do it. Although the stories also has stuff about infertility too, but you'll see me, when I'm working, struggling with teaching, or, different things going on with teaching, or teaching during COVID, or figuring out how to do my curly hair, because I just discovered I have curly hair. Like there's just like different things like that. And I'm just like, or like being horrible at fashion, because I'm horrible at fashion and makeup. Like I don't really know what I'm doing. So things like that it's just watching a normal person like try to figure it out, even though I'm 39 years old. I'm like, I'm just learning how to do my hair and makeup. Like this is a big deal. So yeah,
I love it. Well, it looks amazing. So great job. Awesome. So any final thoughts before we close out here?
No, I think that the most important thing is just for people to know that they're not alone. Like I felt alone. No one who I knew had gone through infertility, minus like a couple of coworkers, but I didn't really have anyone to talk to. And I think that what I'm trying to do at Hilariously Infertile, and a number of other people especially on social media, are trying to do, is just help people at home know that what you're going through it sucks, but it's normal, and you're not alone through it, and you don't need to be suffering in silence. And there's a huge community out there if you want to engage with that. So yeah, and definitely buy the book, because if you want to feel like you're not crazy, that's very helpful. So yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. It's so fun getting to know you and getting to talk to you. So I really appreciate you coming on the show. So
thanks so much for having me.
All right, guys. Until next time, thank you for listening to the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. Today's show is sponsored by Tempdrop. Tempdrop. Know your cycle. Understand your body. Hey, hang on just 1 second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at CoachKayla.com. From a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant, not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. Make sure you take advantage of that. And I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L E Podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.